Federal judge in Minnesota will consider an extraordinary legal question on Monday. Today. Can a deployment of federal law enforcement officers be so dangerous and so intrusive that it violates the state's sovereignty under the 10th Amendment? Lawyers for the state of Minnesota, along with the cities Minneapolis and St. Paul, have claimed the Trump administration surge of some 3,000 immigration agents to the state has crossed the line into an unconstitutional and illegal occupation. They've asked a judge to temporarily halt the surge, which has led to 3 shootings, thousands of arrests, and tense outrages. You know, Jonathan, I had outside my office in Washington the 10th Amendment, all powers not given specifically to the federal government are reserved to states and to individuals. This sort of sweep up that we've seen in these killings that we have seen certainly go far beyond what the federal government should be entitled to do, sweeping into states, killing their residents, and then shutting down any investigations, whisking the killers
within an hour
out of state, not allowing there to be an investigation into the killing of a Minnesota resident with, from what we know, no criminal record. So it is a fascinating case that's going to be heard this morning, argument that's heard this morning. But I will say either we have a 10th Amendment for a reason or we do not. And this would suggest that 10th Amendment that hung outside my office in Congress for the better part of 4 terms would apply here.
Yeah, the question that case poses is extraordinarily pertinent right now of what we've seen in Minnesota these last few weeks, that these ICE agents, Border Patrol agents, look like a federalized police force at the White House's bidding. And, you know, local officials have made it clear they don't want them there. And there could be more. The president and his advisors, I am told, still talking this weekend about potentially invoking the Insurrection Act. That'd be extraordinarily politically difficult for them right now, I think, with Republicans pushing back. But it has not been ruled out. And we've seen also the talking point.
Can I ask you, Jonathan, really quickly before you get to that? Let me ask you, so we saw the president's statement yesterday, but then last night we got the reporting from Josh Dawsey at Wall Street Journal, 5-minute phone call, the president hedging, refusing to say that the killing was done by the book, refusing to say he did the right thing. Also talking about the possibility of leaving and sounding like Trump, saying we've already accomplished great things. That's usually Donald Trump when one foot's out the door. He certainly has to understand by now how devastating Stephen Miller's policies and the enactment of those policies are to his numbers as they keep collapsing. I'm wondering, what did you read from that 5-minute phone call with Josh Dawsey at the Wall Street Journal last night?
Well, Josh is one of the best out there. A few things. You're right. The president does seem like he was hedging a little bit last night, although we should be clear, though he said the ICE agents may be pulled back. He said other federal agencies might step into Minnesota to investigate the alleged fraud of the Somali immigrant community. That is, they're using the excuse for all of this. I think that he and his team have known for a few weeks now. They can see polls that people aren't happy with how this has gone down. At the same time, his very lengthy Truth Social post just a few hours before that interview doubled and tripled down on this. Not necessarily about the behavior of the agents involved, but the fact that the ICE agents and Border Patrol were there at all. And really focused on this talking point, blaming local officials, blaming Minnesota for inciting the chaos, saying, well, look, ICE operations in states like Florida or Texas, there's no protest. Therefore, no chaos, no violence. But because there are protests in Minnesota, that's what's caused this violence, even though we all can see with our own eyes the videos here of these 2 killings. That's not the case. And let's just make it as a final point. We will see here in the coming days what he does, whether it is the Insurrection Act or whether he tries to pull back, because every time in this term where he's had the chance to de-escalate, he has chosen not to.
Right, and sowing distrust by the feds, DHS, Border Patrol, immediately saying that the victim was the aggressor, a domestic terrorist, a would-be assassin, within an hour before the scene is even cleared, them making an assertion as to what happened with no investigation, not helping breed trust between American citizens and their government.